This is our generation's Sputnik moment.
That was from the President's State of the Union address. I'm amazed he brought up Sputnik. I was 10 when the Soviets launched it, and back then we thought it was a big deal.
The epical scientific achievement by Soviet Russia in beating the United States of America in the race to launch the first man-made moon has all humanity staring heavenward.
We were all looking up, wondering, what had those Soviet scientists done? They must be way ahead of us. Are they going to bomb us? Sputnik scared America into doing what President Obama wants to do now. Spend a ton of your money on government-directed science. That's not as good as it sounds. After Obama's State of the Union address, he went to Wisconsin to speak at a factory that gets government handouts. He returned to that Sputnik theme.
It was right here, almost 50 years ago, that a chunk of metal came crashing down to the Earth right here. It turns out that it was part of a satellite called Sputnik that landed right here and that set the space race into motion. So I want to say to you today that it is here, more than 50 years later, that the race for the 21st century will be won.
Well, maybe Manitowoc will win the race for the 21st century. But if they do, it won't be because Obama's central planners gave your money to some favored factory. It'll be because some entrepreneur there invents something totally unexpected. That's the spontaneous order. That brings us most good things. Didn't the President notice that the central planners who launched Sputnik lost the race for the future? Please, Mr. President, you must have noticed the Soviet Union failed. Yes, the communists launched a ball of metal they called Sputnik. They confiscated almost all their people's resources to do it, to try to show that socialism works. But by doing that, they fell way behind. By chaining people to the whims of the state, rather than leaving them free to pursue their own creativity and self-interest, the Soviet Union failed. Politically, economically, eventually it failed even in space exploration. Socialism always fails. And yet arrogant politicians still think they should plan the economy. The President longs for what he thinks were the good old days.
Many people watching tonight can probably remember a time when finding a good job meant showing up at a nearby factory or a business downtown. Maybe you'd even have the pride of seeing your kids work at the same company.
That's his vision for our future? Work in the same factory all your life? It's not what he did. It's not what most Americans do or want to do, and that's good. Our future depends on spontaneous order, dynamic movement of people, innovation, booms and busts, and risk-taking. The President wants it both ways. In his State of the Union, he said this:
None of us can predict with certainty what the next big industry will be, or where the new jobs will come from.
But then he laid out exactly where new jobs will come from. Apparently, when he says none of us can predict, he means you can't, but he can. And what is the next big industry? Have you heard? It's high-speed rail. In the State of the Union, he mentioned railroads 6 times. Government's already squandered billions of your tax dollars on that, but he's prepared to squander more. Government will still be funding this 19th century industry when the rest of us go places in spaceships at hyperspeed. Or maybe we'll learn how to fax ourselves to the next town. Who knows? I don't presume to know what the next innovation in transportation will be. But I do know that the President and his brilliant advisors don't know either. No central planner can know. Such innovation comes from a free market. If only when the President went to that Wisconsin factory, he'd said this: I know that you folks are grateful for the subsidies that we give you, but after thinking about that piece of Sputnik falling here, I have to say, I don't know that your product deserves a subsidy. Maybe someone else will invent something better. I was arrogant. I shouldn't take taxpayer money and give it to you. If your product is better, people will buy it. That's how America should work. A free market means a level playing field. No subsidies, no privileges. But thanks for the campaign contributions that you gave us politicians. Hey, I can dream, can't I? It wasn't long ago when one president understood spontaneous order. Ronald Reagan went to the Soviet Union and said this: "It is so hard for government planners, no matter how sophisticated, to ever substitute for the millions of individuals working night and day to make their dreams come true." That was true then, it's true now. Government planning in the Soviet Union or here at home cannot make our dreams come true. Government's not the dream maker. Individuals are. Individuals creating, discovering, building. If left free, individuals will spontaneously lead us to a better future. Good night.